Hello, welcome to Global Mission of Peace TV and Mystic View, number 35. This is Standing with Standing Rock, and I'm joined by Shelley. Hello, Shelley.
Hello. Hello, everyone.
And for the two of us, this is a very special Mystic View. Shelley is a pipe carrier. I have Native American on both sides of my family, Iroquois or Mohawk on one side, and Nez Perce, as they say it, on my mom's side. And but more importantly than blood or pipe carrying is unity. And to me, the common theme of humanity, people knowing that this earth was created for them and we were placed on it for us to use it. And it wasn't made for other people to own pieces of it and do what they want with it. And especially put pipelines through burial grounds. I mean, imagine, somebody trying to put a line through one of our American cemeteries, European cemeteries, or through Arlington. And you get an idea of it. And so what we're going to do, well, first thing I'm going to do is to kind of consecrate this a little bit. My little piece of sage here. I will ignite it. Thank the fire spirits for being available whenever we call. And now, this is sage. And just kind of clear the air, and it's just a little bit of ceremony here. Okay, enough. It'll be burning on the side. If you see any smoke wafting by, the place is not on fire. As you see, it's coming. And I'm going to play a few clips. We'll certainly do some speaking, and I know the clips will probably inspire. I'm not going to play one after the other. I'll play one, then we'll speak, and we'll play one. Shelley, what I'm going to ask you to do often is, since I'm going to be changing my sound so that the sound is, not coming through my microphone, but directly into there. After I come out of each one, it'll take me a moment for me to recover and be able to speak. So if you pick it up after each one, it'll probably be great. And besides, hearing your voices, well, good. So I'm going to change I will not be able to speak. I mean, you might see my lips moving, but you won't hear me. And I'm going to start with Green Party presidential candidate Jill Stein. In case anybody's wondering, there are more than two people running to be president of the United States, and Jill Stein is the Green Party member and the most sane one. So anyway, I will now
It is such an honor to be here and to bear witness to the incredible courage that all of you are showing, that our brother is showing. Your courage is what leads us forward, what gives us hope. The courage of the Standing Rock Sioux and of all the indigenous nations and tribes that have come here to show resolve, to show courage, and to show unity. You are a model to the nation and to the world. What you are protecting, as you know, is not just yours. You are protecting us all. And I urge everyone who's listening out there to be a part of this courageous movement, to show support in whatever way you can, to come here if you can, and to stand with this movement, to help supply this movement. This battle is absolutely critical. This DAPL pipeline must be stopped in the same way that the Keystone pipeline had to be stopped. We cannot simply allow other pipelines to do an end run around that one highly visible pipeline. And this is happening all over the country through the desecration of water, through the desecration of indigenous lands and ancestral sacred sites and of our ecosystems, which we all depend on. And I want to give props to the many indigenous leaders across the nation and across the world for that matter.
This is a turning point. I was so proud when I saw the members of the Black Lives Matter show up here a few days ago. That's the kind of solidarity we have to continue to build. We have to let people understand that what we have in this struggle is not a past struggle against colonialism, but an ongoing struggle against colonialism. When we assume office, we're going to put in place processes and policies to begin to reverse the settler colonial project. We guarantee that for you.
Okay? To the people. And I want to let you know that we are water protectors, and we are sacred site protectors, and we always have that thought, that motion of peace. Even through when we were attacked by dogs, we still thought of peace. It's a human emotion, a human feeling of when you're being attacked, that you have to take a stand. That's in all of us. That's bred in us. But through that, as we discuss things, and when calmer heads prevailed, it was peace that we still thought of. It rejuvenated that spirit, that warrior spirit in people to defend. But through that defense, through us being these water protectors, these sacred site protectors, remember, we always think and we come in peace. You guys are the water protectors and the sacred site protectors. And you've always had peace in you. So stand with us, please. I love you guys. I hope.
So what Jill Stein said there was really important. She said, because they are protecting all of us, and that is true. Every one of us is a water carrier. Think about your body. How much water are you carrying? How much water has had such vitality and importance? I mean, it can't be understated that this is not just about our native family. This is the whole world. This is Mother Earth that we're speaking up for here. And so Jill went there, but also many groups, many nations, but many groups have. Did you know the New York State nurses have backed them? There's museums all across North America that are backing this movement at Standing Rock for very good reason. This is so important.
Well, because they realize this isn't just about supporting Native Americans. This is supporting life. Water is life.
Yes.
And so people are now hearing, I mean, by the way, the name of this show is Standing with Standing Rock. And this is really, in many ways, humanity standing up against what can only be called anti-humanity in at least their performance. In many ways, he spoke of colonialism. Well, colonialism and corporatism tend to be hand in hand. When the United States is in other countries protecting American interests, they're not protecting American people, they're protecting American corporate interests. That's what they're saying. So we're standing with Standing Rock. And by the way, Jill Stein apparently wrote on one of the bulldozer blades of the excavating company, Water is Life, to which she was an arrest from North Dakota. An arrest for her was issued. That was for a misdemeanor, but just think about it. We have certain people, the bank people, we have Hillary with her security issues. No arrests are issued. Jill spray paints on the blade of a bulldozer, something that will not affect its performance. Matter of fact, after it shovels a few bits of earth, I'm quite sure that paint is scraped off. So this was considered an arrestable offense by the colonizers, by the corporates. Okay, so please take all this into perspective and help us support Stand with Standing Rock. And you can do it. I mean, there's all over Facebook. There's ways of doing this. There's different links that you can support this movement, but most importantly, you can support it in your heart. If you don't even have $1 to spare, in your heart, you can stand in your heart with this movement. And as you'll start to see as this goes out and hearing it, this is not about Native Americans. As noble as we want to hold them, they don't want to, they're tired of doing this alone. This is for all of us. And it's really important for us to understand this is for all of us. This is humanity against those, and the love of Mother Earth. And one of the things that the Native people have held is the reverence for Mother Earth. And these people are just, these corporations have no regard. That's a quaint thing. If anything, there's a disdain from Mother Earth. And not only are they protecting the water of the river that runs through there, but also, I mean, when we think about this pipeline is going to carry oil from the Bacon fields, and all of it is fracking oil. Now, some of you might think, oh, fracking, doesn't that cause earthquakes? More importantly, it creates groundwater contamination, a contamination that cannot be remediated except for maybe thousands of years of its abuse stopping. Once that water is spoiled, it's not like cleaning a river. This is underground water. There's no sun. There's no way of capturing it. There's no way of releasing microbes. The only, it's fouled. And so this is about water on the surface and under the surface. And the very oil that's going through this pipeline isn't coming out from oil wells. It's coming out from fracking wells, which are destroying the groundwater in the process. So to try to get us in the spirit here a little bit, there was one of the beautiful things about this. This is the Standing Rock Reservation. So it's their sovereign territory. They don't own it. It's where they live. And the Mother Earth way of doing things, if you live somewhere, that's your property, but you don't own it. It's where you live. Very different thing. You're
stewards. You take care of it.
Yes. And so as the different... So I'm sorry, what did you say?
I just said it's a cooperation.
Yes.
It's a relationship with our mother, with our Earth Mother.
And so what happens is, because this is their, where they live, as each of the other tribes come, they kind of have their flag and they dance their way into, they kind of, they gracefully enter through dance and music, and are basically asking permission, in just a formality, just like before you enter somebody's home, you go, it's okay for me to come in. It's not like it's assumed that permission is granted, but the formality and the respect for each other.
That's what it is. It comes down to the respect. I mean, even the Hawaiians do this, and they share that common respect. You can't even go into a Hawaiian school without asking permission, and then the teacher will grant it, provided, it's appropriate. Mm-hmm. But yes, it's all about the respect.
So this next one is the Hualapai tribe. They're, from my call, I think it's Peach Creek or Peach Springs, Arizona. So I'm going to get this one going. I'm going to go off my mic again. And so Shelley, when we return, please pick it up.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. This is the time of the gathering. This is very significant. Oh, that's so beautiful. Well, this just reminds me of the prophecy from Black Elk, that which speaks of after 7 generations, which is now, that all nations will gather again to make a new sacred hoop. We all gather under the one tree, take the good red road. That implies peace. And we did a mystic view on the tree and how it came down to, it could be dendrites.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the tree is a fractal. It's a fractal of our universe. It's a fractal of our earth. It's a fractal of every cell in our body. And so when we come together as peace, all nations, this is what's implied by the term rainbow, the rainbow nation. That's all of us, and it's time.
Well, what touches me is they're coming down, I guess, what they're now calling the Boulevard of Flags or the Boulevard of Nations. And so
Well,
for anybody, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Global Mission of Peace is soon going to have
That's right. Our
a flag to add to that.
Yes, we are coming. We will be on the Boulevard of Nations. And what's so beautiful is when you look at them, besides the colors, the uniqueness of each. It's not like, you know, the United States and England and a bunch of other, like where you see a constant red, white, and blue patterns with little differences. I mean, each one is unique. It's just, you see the colors, and then the arrival of the people. I mean, those are handmade. Those aren't Louis Vuitton or some other kind. They weren't bought off a rack. They were made with love. And you can see each person looked unique because each person is a unique artist. There was no duplication there. I mean, and the colors are vibrant, so different than the almost grayscale world we live in. Yes, yes, we have colors, but I mean, when you look at the richness of them and just the celebration and the understanding that what colors mean, there's an understanding behind this. So I just, there's going to be more, but I mean, this is, we're really trying to cultivate a feeling for the sacredness and for this coming together. This is not just, as this starts to go on, you'll see more and more. This isn't just about indigenous nations, but just know that those flags are, these are the First Nations. Yes, Shelley.
Well, I was just going to say, it isn't just about our native family. It's also science. There is science of peace. This peace is ready, and it's up to us to embrace that and stand up and say, and claim it, is basically what we're doing now. We're simply claiming it peacefully.
Yes.
Because it's peace.
Well, as I said, this isn't a protest. This is a protect.
Yeah, protection, not a protest.
Right. This is not a protest. And I guess I'll just throw in very quickly here. I'm not showing that video, but it was one of the warriors, and of course they're not going to act out, but he was, a typical warrior person, a little bit surly. And somebody said, but the MSM, the mainstream media isn't giving it much coverage because we don't want them here. There's no use for them. All they do is take what's happening here and twist it and bend it. And a very good case was that there was a place where when they first arrived, a lot of the pipe carriers, that's the chanupa or the sacred pipe, the peace pipe, many of you might know it as. And so in Native American tradition, it isn't like something you buy. You have to be a pipe owner. Carrying of a pipe is a sacred tradition. And again, I want to use terms that people might understand. It's almost like being ordained, being a minister or it's a title, and it's not given to just anybody. So anyway, when the people first arrived, there were a group of them that arrived holding their chanupas or their pipes. All right. Well, this is how it was twisted in the mainstream media about a bunch of Indians who were there at this gathering who had pipes in their hand, basically alluding to like lead pipes, alluding to like they had holding pipes in their hand to do violence. Mm-hmm. And this is the kind of twisting that he's talking about. I mean, again, anytime that they can take something and put a little twist and say they had pipes in their hand, many, many men had pipes in their hand. Yes, they did. chanupas.
They're praying with.
Peace
The pipes are for praying.
Yeah. So anyway, that's why you're saying we don't even want them here, because they'll just
I
twist
think
it.
that's a really good choice, because really the message that travels is traveling organically from one heart to the next. And that's the pulse of Mother Earth. That's what's waking up. That's what's alive through this movement.
Well, even the reason why we, Global Mission of Peace, will be represented there is because one of our grandmothers, Mary Beth, absolutely was called to go there. I mean, whether she was in Global Mission of Peace or not, she was called to go there.
And
so,
she responded.
yes.
How many people are frightened, too frightened to answer? Well,
And
she has company. Her sister-in-law. Let's give Sharon some.
yes,
Some credit.
absolutely. We love
Backing her
to.
up and traveling right with her, and we'll be interviewing them and providing updates along the way.
And they drove there from Pennsylvania. They drove to North Dakota. 2 days of almost nonstop driving to get there.
28 hours. This was a big mission, a big calling, and they just stepped right up and said, yeah, of course we're going. Thank you, Spirit, for calling us.
And the only heat was probably be a campfire. There isn't much in the way of electricity, unless they have a few generators, but I can't imagine anybody really want the noise of a generator. I mean, and everybody's reporting this. They're doing ceremony all day. There isn't any of the squabbles. Many of the tribes who are gathered there used to have their own little issues with each other, from hundreds of years of different things, and they've all decided enough already. We're done. We're done with that. We now unite as one, whatever. We have no time for that. So we can all do that. This doesn't have to just be a Native thing. They're not asking for this to be a Native thing. This is the rainbow time. This is for us all to go. Those of us who love creation, understand our Creator and on this earth, and the importance of it, and the importance of having access to the cleanliness that was given to us, including drinkable water. That's why I
wanted to bring in the part of that science has peace as well, because I understand many people are making their living, feeding their families from oil, but there are technologies to replace that will be, just so much better for you, for the earth, for the energy of everything that you do in a day. We really do not need oil. We never did, actually, but that's taking us down another path. There's technologies to replace oil and oil-based products.
Yes, there are. Okay,
There is a science of peace.
So there's a very well-spoken gentleman. I mean, it's an 8-minute clip. I probably won't play all of it because I think a lot of the best stuff is said in the beginning. And it's Yakama Tribal Councilman Chairman Jode Gowdy. And he's speaking at Standing Rock. So again, the same procedure. I'm going to kind of cut off my mic, and Shelley will pick it up when we come back.
Manakshas Chaikwach. Manakuchikuk Nayakusha Nakpanetash Papataput. My name is Chaikwach. That name was given to me as a child in ceremony. I'm also known as Jode Gowdy, and I currently serve as the chairman of the Yakama Nation Tribal Council. And I must say, dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to get through this thing called life. And as such, each and every one of us must ask questions, some very important questions. Shinamonisha, who are you? Manaknik Namwa, where do you come from? These very simple questions that each and every individual must ask also go in hand with each and every entity, nation, people. And as was stated, it starts with us as individuals. Who am I? Where do I come from? Only in understanding the answers to these questions will we understand where we are going. In the Northwest, the Yakama Nation, as well as the other delegates from the tribes that are represented within the Pacific Northwest, we are aware of black snakes. They come through our territory by rail. There is one that if it falls off the track, it will blow up and burn. There's another that sheds its skin. It's called coal. That skin blows off those railways, those cars, all through our lands, going into our water, onto our land. Indeed, we have made strong stances in the Northwest against the proposal for a superhighway of fossil fuel. And as such, we collectively come together in an understanding, asking one another, asking ourselves, as we look upon these things, are these responsible decisions? Are these responsible decisions? Because if we are to ask ourselves who we are and where we come from, us as the native peoples of this land are listening to the ground. We are listening to the water. And because we have that connection, we are able to express the concern that is coming from this land and from this water. That concern is telling us that if irresponsible decisions are continued to be made, the fulfillment of prophecies that come from Native people will come to be. It is imperative that all individuals who are taking part in this entire picture come to the understanding of these, who am I and where do I come from? The corporations at hand that are proposing such things indeed are making decisions that impact their pocketbooks, which is a very small percentage of their population base that affect millions of people. And in the meantime, the consequences endured by our land and by our water, by our natural resources. This is not responsible decision making. The black snake that's being proposed here, its head, its brain is in Texas, where this corporation is, but its heart lies in Washington, D.C., by the lawmakers, the legislators, the court, the policymakers, who are enabling actions and irresponsible decisions to manifest and materialize before our eyes. Have they ever asked themselves who they are and where they come from? Because if they did, they would know and realize, as we do, that if we continue down this pathway with these kind of decisions, that the answers that we have come to ourselves, knowing who we are and where we come from, knowing what it is to have a relationship with the land, with the water, with the elements, and with our creator. We come to love our surroundings. We come to know the interaction that we indeed are related to all things. And in that love and that acknowledgement of knowing that you are related to all things, you come to appreciate the beauty, that creation that our creator has put down for us. And in that appreciation, you come to understand the benefit and the importance that our future generations are at least able to experience what we have in this time. This is what must happen here. There is an awareness that is coming. We are only the messengers. The awareness is coming from this ground, and it's coming from that water, and it's coming from that fire. It's coming from this air. And we are messaging to all people, heed the warning. Heed the warning. Let us come together, because human beings collectively are a beautiful being. We have the mind and the heart and the spirit at this point in time to change the future, so that indeed our future generations will be able to experience what you and I and our ancestors have. The ability to drink clean water, the ability to breathe clean air, the ability to walk upon a ground that is clean and pure. These are what the ancestors, our collective ancestors, had held in high regard, because that communication had come from answering questions. Shinamanisha, who am I? Manaknik namwa, where do I come from? That's how our people, collective nations and peoples, understand where we are going. Chamakli Khwayama, Black Eagle, President Obama, where are you? You come to dance amongst these people here. You showed yourself to this land here in relationship with the Standing Rock people. You had their babies in your arms and you shook the hands of these people. And where are you at this time to stand up behind the words that you had expressed to these people here? Please do whatever is within your power, your executive authority, to stand for this land, for this water, and for this air, and that indeed this proposed black snake will not materialize. This is a piece.
Well, he certainly asked the right question. He said, who are we and where do we come from? And the bottom line there is that we're light. We're light. We've lived under conditioning that would lead us to believe that we're not light, but in fact we're photon, and that's where we came from. We're photon, we're light returning to the light, and it's simply a matter of claiming it.
I'm so glad that you picked that up, because I actually wrote down some things, and I thought one of the most important things he said was those two questions. Who are you? And as you said, we are light. You know, and for other people, you know, that is the most valid. For some people who might go, huh? Just in case, there's a few. Maybe they might go, how about we are spirit, we are the created, which all means light. If you understand what it all is, you will understand that what Shelley said is actually the getting down to the absolute nitty-gritty of it.
Right, and light is knowledge, and it's experiential knowledge. So it's not sitting back and watching somebody do it for you. You know, it's claiming it in your own life in every way. Whether it's an acknowledgement with your heart, whether it's reaching out, whether it's sending money to mblord@comcast.net.
Yes.
Because she is there purchasing supplies and just helping in whatever way is needed that we're able to.
Well, thank you, because I was going to say the same thing. MB Lord, one word, MBLORD @Comcast COMCAST.net, not .com. That's how you could send her money on PayPal. All of this money is going to be funneled into there's over 4,000 people there now. These are funds going towards whatever supplies, toiletries, and food. This is not she's staying in a tent. This isn't going to be paying for her lodging, because lodging is
how fun is that? You know, if you can't be there, boots on the ground, to participate, how fun is it to send $10 or $5 and to know that you are participating? And we're going to show Mary Beth going off to the store if we're able to. I need her to use her iPhone and just capture as much footage as she can, as simply or as, however she's able. But we're going to be posting updates about what she needed to purchase. And also they've got camps now that they're opening, some little schools for the kids that the parents are there that aren't able to get to school now because they're there in support of Mother Earth in this way. So school supplies, simple things, really simple things.
Well, we can even stay with that first question. Who are you? Are you one of the people who stood with Standing Rock? If you couldn't get there, did you send $5? You can.
Or a prayer.
Or a prayer, right. Exactly. Who are you? Are you one of the, you can say to yourself, if you participate, you can say, I am one of the people who stood with Standing Rock. We're getting away from the light and all the other more ephemeral stuff right now in the here and now. Who are you? And when it comes to what's going on here, who are you? And where do you come from? And, do you come from a state, or do you come from your heart? Do you come from the earth? Do you understand? You come from this mixture of earth and spirit. When he asked those questions, those were profound questions. They're existential questions. It wasn't like, what's your name? And what town do you come from? Who are you? Where do you come from? Deep questions.
And the oneness factor. He spoke about the collectiveness of humanity together. We have always known, we know in our hearts the joy that comes from sharing and from being connected with people. I believe this is our time for all nations, the Rainbow Tribe, that's the whole earth, to stand together united. This is it.
This is a tipping point for all of you who are like wondering, oh my God, it seems like a train that's gone off the track. This is a way to change it. This really is. This is huge. This is getting support in Europe. And that's why I really like when he said about our collective ancestors. Some people might go, oh, well, you guys are Indians, we're Europeans. If you knew what Celts believed, if you know, I mean, the various tribes, back when Europe was tribal, they held the same beliefs. These are not uniquely Native American beliefs. These are the real beliefs. These are the beliefs before other beliefs were imposed upon us.
Yes, before they were manufactured and doctored. But nonetheless, you know, it could take us right into a dialogue about star nations and our star families. But it comes down to the fact that it's not race. It's light. We are light. Your cell, every single cell communicates light. And what is light? What is light? Love. You know what? Even the astrophysicists talk about love in their labs because that's what it's come down to, an acknowledgement of. So
we're gonna take it off the reservation for a moment. We're gonna come into Denver. Where there was, I guess, you know, it was a meeting at the hall, but you're going to see the arrival of a native delegation full of actually more non-natives than natives. But of course, you'll be able to definitely tell the natives because they're colorful. I mean, to me, what's so beautiful, I mean, again, it's not like it's like the rest of the world's black and white, but it's a little more grayscale. When you see these native people, the original people, the people of the earth arrive, they arrive in vibrant colors. You see the difference between how in our modern living, we've gone a little grayscale. I mean, really, just look for the vibrancy that comes from these people in every ways.
And the freedom of movement, I have to say, is what enlivens their color, what enlivens their dress. It's the freedom of movement. It's that holding to their dignity. It's that holding to all the respect that comes along with it.
So here
they've earned those clothes too, just the way somebody earns a pipe or a rattle or a song.
Okay, sharing screen.
Thank you.
So what's really going on there? What is so heart-opening about that is that it is meaningful. They are so connected with what they are doing. They're not there to show anybody from an ego perspective. They're there because it speaks to their heart and it's meaningful to them. And some of the symbols that we saw, like that one lady with the headband, if anybody noticed, it might have looked like a swastika. It is actually a physics symbol that indicates light. It's the 4 directions. And you'll find that in quantum physics, but this is the truth that has been known by our indigenous people. And you know what? Whatever. So you talk about maybe past lives for people. Don't want to step on anybody's toes about this, but if you have any idea that past lives is probably a reality, well, you know, what were you in your last lifetime? Were you Native? Were you, European, Oriental? You know what? We're one.
Yes.
We're one. But those symbols and those truths have been known and they've been stored in our heart. And all we have to do is open our heart. How do you open your heart? By doing something meaningful.
Well, even where I stopped the videos, because that sign had come up, it said solidarity forever, with the O being a heart. And I just thought, solidarity forever, from going forward to be one people on one planet. As far as in our recognizing our commonality, connection to spirit, connection to the earth.
Well, and that's the truth. And life just becomes so much simpler when you can wake up in the morning and know what the truth is, instead of going through your day confused and believing the conditioning about, oh my God, I have to pay this bill and I want to go do that. You know what? When you're connected with the truth, it's not that you don't go do those things, but it's meaningful.
I mean, I was recently examining how when they speak about how many millions of people have been raised out of poverty in, past 10 years or something. And when you realize that that phrase is another hiding of monetization of human beings, where what happens is many of the people who were living on $2 a day as peasants, shall I say, in China, because China's raised more people out of poverty, But these were people who had land that they could grow on. They had a house that they probably didn't pay rent on. And they had the farm animals. And was it a subsistence living? Did they live on $1 or $2 a day? Yes, but did they have everything that they needed? Most likely. The thing is, at $2 a day, what in many ways the message is these people can only contribute $2 a day to the corporations. That's why they're monetized. So when we hear about lifting people out of poverty, did we improve their life, or we just give them more money to hand over to the corporations?
Right. Entrapment, I believe that's called.
So
got any more clips for us, or is that it?
Beg your pardon? No, there's two more.
Do you have any more? Okay.
Two more. This next one is the Native Americans fight against the Dakota Access Pipeline. What I want to say is that when Chief Joe Day Gowdy was, that's his American name, when he spoke of the black snake, in case nobody knew, the black snake are the pipelines that carry oil. And the other black snakes he's talking about was tankers on railroad tracks, and the other ones carrying coal. Those are the black snakes.
And that particular black snake he's referring to is going to be planned for 1,168 miles, transporting 570,000 barrels a day. Now, what happens when that pipeline?
Yes, and they tried the same thing in Yellowstone Park, and it ruptured and despoiled so much that was there. We know the destruction potential that's actually inevitable. It's not really even potential. How long can these, even if it's not today or next week? And it's going under a lake. I mean, come on. Well, the interesting thing was the original route was up north, further north by Bismarck, North Dakota.
Yeah.
But the second Americans said they didn't. Yes. That was too dangerous for them. So then they went, oh, well, we'll put it there. They, who are they? They're expendable.
It's too dangerous no matter which way you look. We don't need it. We have technology. And that would take us into a conversation about free energy, and we can even go there. But right now, let's see your clip.
All righty. The last time I forgot to switch over my sound. I won't forget this time.
I know.
Keep it in the soil! Can't drink oil!
Apache.
I come from the Diné tribe. I'm part of the Standing Rock Sioux tribe.
Can't drink oil! Keep it in the soil! Can't drink oil! Keep it in the soil!
It's a time of unification. It's to be with my brothers and sisters and my youth, to stand as one and fight for this land.
This pipeline, it's a mistake.
It's the worst thing that can actually go through here.
To President Obama, if you are listening, our people are in need of our lands to be protected. You say you are the president and you listen to all voices. Well, this is us telling you to listen to our voice, listen to our cries, because our indigenous people are suffering to protect the land that you are living on.
For water! For life!
This event has brought many tribes together from all over the nation just to fight for water, because water is the resource to everything.
At any time, that pipeline can break, and that will contaminate our water. And if it contaminates our water, what water will our children be able to drink? What water will we be able to drink?
It'll just ruin everything around the reservation. So this whole entire water that we have is just going to be ruined.
Water is life. To protect the water is to protect our life and our well-being as human beings. I hope that for the next generation, that our generation will be able to fight these entities so that they will be able to live a perfect, almost perfect life. Because if we don't, then they don't have a life.
Being able to fight for our land is something sacred. It reminds us on who we are on the inside, where we come from, or who we come from.
To see all of the obstacles that we go through and to be able to live and be proud of who we are, know the songs in our language and know the prayers, I know that we are not a lost people yet.
Native Americans are still standing strong. They'll always be strong.
I love that. She said, keep it in the soil. You know, that takes us to a very important conversation about what is oil really, and the consequences of taking that lifeblood out of the earth mother. But also, if you're gonna, I noticed that one girl had on her necklace a symbol also used from the Hawaiians, and it speaks to the piko, or the center, the connection. And they have a tradition that's called ho'oponopono, where it's, I'm sorry, please forgive me. But how many times have you had a bath, done your dishes, whatever, washed and flushed all that suds and soap and bleach, and heaven knows what we've flushed in our own lives daily into the earth? Does anybody ever think of it? And do you ever stop to say, I'm sorry? But what does it mean if you say, I'm sorry? Does it mean, okay, so I'm just going to do it again tomorrow? That doesn't sound like much of an apology. And please forgive me. Well, please forgive me, but I'm going to do it again tomorrow morning when I wake up. You know, this is individual. Every person is accountable for every single thing that you do. Okay, so it's convenient. We can change that. With technologies, we can actually improve and maintain convenience. Nobody has to be put out at all. But we could talk a little bit about the oil and why it belongs in the soil, in Mother Earth.
Well, there's a school of thought that actually says that the oil is abiotic. In other words, it isn't the decayed organic material, that it's actually something the earth produces. And so therefore, and that's why if you leave certain oil wells alone for a while and you go back, there'll be more oil in them, because it's a natural, it's something naturally produced by the earth. So if the earth is producing it, it must have utility for it. It must have a use for it. Just kind of like if you take a quart of blood or a pint of blood out of us, we'll replace it. Oil belongs in the soil.
And it's not to guilt anybody. You know what? So you didn't know these things, but you can take it upon yourself to become educated. And the fastest education is your feeling, your heart opening. If you just take a few moments and learn to open your heart and connect with the Earth Mother, you'll be guided and you will know what's appropriate and what is not appropriate. And this is definitely not appropriate.
Well, even with one of our favorite things in the modern world, the car. The man Diesel, the diesel engine was, I forget his first name, but his last name was Diesel. He invented the diesel engine because he saw the problems. I mean, especially in the earliest combustion engines, they were really dirty burning. So he invented an engine that was always meant to run on vegetable oils. And he had one particular plant that would produce copious amounts of oil and wasn't like taking oil from a food source. Hemp oil. Hemp, not pot, not marijuana, hemp, especially the male seed, and lots and lots of seeds. But hemp is actually almost basically a non-psychoactive version of that genus, because the species is what makes it different. And his whole plan was it could run on any vegetable oil. That's why you hear about people with diesels that go around collecting the old fry oil from like McDonald's or something and put it in there. And people who have smelled that exhaust said it smells like French fries. So the whole thing is, even one of our most cherished things that we now have, the horseless carriage, can be run via the diesel engine on any kind of vegetable oil, and specifically one of the most oil producing plants that doesn't need any pesticides or fertilizers, hemp seed oil.
Well, sure, but it can also be run on water. It can also be run on electricity. I mean, we have so many options.
Yes, we do.
And wouldn't it be fun to start a new career, people? I mean, it's not going to be an imposition. It's not an imposition when these new technologies are released. We actually need to be insisting upon this kind of a release. It's part of the disclosure that has to happen.
Yes.
But as long as we think that we're just ground tied and we're just, oh dear, letting, you know, the power, the system, the old paradigm keep running, that's our belief that keeps us in that. That's the old paradigm. It's called the old paradigm for a reason. It's old. There is a new paradigm. You just have to be the observer to see it and to stop playing by the rules of the old. That's what keeps you entrapped in it.
This is in our psychology. In many ways, the natives are still connected to the earth. They're aware of the world. The world is a psychological construct on the planet itself. And so the changing of paradigms is the changing how the world we create. The planet was created already. We're the ones creating the world.
Yeah, the collective consciousness.
So I have one last one.
All righty.
This is the one after they have done the big meeting inside this beautiful meeting tent. His name is Vic Camp. And anyway, I'm going to change over my mic.
We keep asking more nations, more water protectors to come and gather here. We're here in peace with the Chanunpa. We have the keeper of the Chanunpa here with us. We have to show the world that we're not fooled by these games that they play with us in the court systems. So the only decision today that came out of this job meeting was that we're going to stay together and stand together. We're going to come together as a whole camp, and we're going to ask people for ideas on what to do. It's going to be out in the open. There is no secrets here. When the Nachas go and meet, there is no secrets here. They want you all to know that. They respect and honor every single one of you and your opinions here. The Nachas are happy that the people are here gathering to protect the sacred water. The Nachas from this land are happy that we're here. Every single group that is here is useful to each other. We need each other. We have to stand together in unity to protect sacred water and Mother Earth. We stand with our Chanunpa. We stand with our wives and our children and our grandparents. We stand as Ozuye to protect Mother Earth and the sacred water. Many Wakayalo, many Wichoni. So my relatives, we're going to continue to stay here, to gather together, to share ideas. We have a lot of different groups that have resources, media, law, nonviolent direct action, trainers that could train us. Those of you who never had those trainings, we encourage you to go to them to learn how to stand on the front lines, to use your bodies. We don't use weapons here today. There was a time when some of our parents used weapons at Wounded Knee, and they re-awoke a spirit that tells us who we are within our identity, whatever nation we come from. But today we cannot do that. The government will come in here and wipe us out. But when they see us stand in unity and prayer, they get scared. They don't know how to react to that nonviolent direct action. How do they come in and take down a grandmother standing with her grandson? How do they come down and take a son and mom, brothers and sisters who are standing together, locked in arms to protect our sacred water? So my relatives, we encourage all of you to stay here. We're going to continue planning. We're going to continue growing until this judge's decision is against this pipeline. So my relatives, be strong and have courage today. It's a small victory for us that he couldn't rule today. He didn't want to come out against us, but he's not for us either. So just keep that in mind, my relatives. We're going to keep meeting together, each and every one of us. We're going to have planning meetings out here where everybody could use the mic, where different groups could come together and help each other, use our resources to help each other. And that's what said was in the meeting, is that we can't divide each other. The divide and conquer ain't gonna work no more. So we're going to stand together, my relatives. Each and every one of us are going to stand together. And the Nachals are happy. I want you all to know they're happy we're here. And stay here. Get to know each other. Go to different camps and shake hands. Find out who your relatives are here. Don't just stay in one camp. Because we're all here for one reason. Water. Water of life, my relatives. So in a good way, I say Wopila for this beautiful day. And I want to thank our pipe keeper for coming and having a beautiful ceremony with us. We got to see the Wambli go free. And now it's time to free our water. Oh, Wopila, Hechitula. Oh, my relatives, I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Victorio Camp. My Lakota name is Tatanka Ina. I'm from the Oyuste Band on the Pine Ridge Reservation, otherwise known as Manderson. I come from the Wachini Scotch Yospai. Also, I'm half Ponca from the Ponca Nation. My father's name was Carter Camp. So I thank all of you again, and you know who I am. I'm willing to talk with anybody, to shake your hand, to be your ally here. Hechitula.
Well, he mentioned a couple of really important things there, starting with no secrets. So let's just look at that. Who needs secrets, people? Who is it that has to harbor secrets? What do we know about this type of a character? We do not need secrets. They do not need secrets. And that tells you something about what peace is. You don't have to hide things. Your individuality is welcome. You don't have to hide, and you don't have to have secrets. Secrets are taking you down a whole different path if you feel like you need a secret. The other thing that I really love what he was saying is, who are your relatives? You know, who are your relatives? And what is water? Okay, so obviously water is a part of absolutely everything. We obviously can't exist without it, but it's a great example of a relationship. Two hydrogens and an oxygen. It's a wonderful example of relationship. And if we could embrace that type of a relationship, not only with each other, but with the earth, we would be fed in that way, in the same way that they are nourished by Mother Earth, by their connection with the all that is.
Who are our relatives? They are the elements of earth, water, air, and fire. They are our relatives also. And I think it's really interesting that it wasn't until the end that he remembered he hadn't introduced himself, because it wasn't about him.
Right. But yet it was important that he let people know who he is. He's not hiding. He's not just a voice, a blank face speaking. He's letting people know who he is and where they can find him if they want to discuss it. It was a welcoming, please come. We are the ones we've been waiting for. However, as far as we know, we have to figure it out right now in front of us. And we didn't get the blueprint. You know, we didn't get the manual. So come, let's put our heads together. Let's put our hearts together. Help us think. We have to help each other. That's what it is.
Well, the other crucial thing, and I'm glad you brought up secrets first, was, you know, what we've been saying it, Dan Winters is a big part of shareable thoughts. You don't share secrets. Secrets are not about sharing. And, you know, so even just from like the whole concept of collective physics and collective consciousness, the moment you have a secret, you pull yourself out of the collective. You are no longer contributing to everybody. You know, you have separated from your relatives.
Well, what do we know about water? We know that it shares whatever the charge or the energy is in it. Mm-hmm. And so if there's been negative thoughts, guess what? That's going to impact you as well. But if you hold the light, if you hold love, if you hold something that's uplifting and shareable with all DNA, now you've affected the whole world in a really positive way. It's so simple. Just take control of those thoughts that want to lead you into fear and recognize that's where they're going. And do you want to make a conscious choice to follow fear, or do you want to make your choice from love?
I mean, all of nature is alive and sharing. I mean, I'll kind of share a little bit of a private thing here that I shared with you earlier. I mean, if you've ever heard of the Findhorn community in Scotland, if you haven't, please Google it. Findhorn is Findhorn. These were a group of older, like Scottish people. And they found out some of them were intuitives and were communicating with the nature spirits, the elementals, and the devas, or the specific kind of, let's call them angels of individual plant species. And they found out that when they communed with them, they would tell them what they needed, and what kind of soil they liked, what they might add to the soil. I mean, they actually able to create real communication. And they got to the point where they even treated the utensils that they used very sacredly. They always brought them back to the shed and never left them out, out of a sign of respect for them. And so, there are different ways of shifting consciousness. And a couple of years ago when I was at Omega, I had a few days off, and I had decided I wanted to take a little bit of a sacred journey. And I was going to make use of the psilocybin mushroom. And so there was somebody there who said, "Oh, we have a batch going, coming up, and when we'll see you when the batch is done." And it's so when I got it, he goes, "Here it is. It's called Golden Teacher." So when it's at that time I was just like, I kind of accepted it. Oh, I like the name Golden Teacher. So I had basically fasted during the day. I had really I had done sacred tobacco. I had really prepared myself, ingested them, and then went in my tent, and it was surrounded by this was in the middle of summer. All the insects are going, and so I'm feeling things happen on, but hadn't been the first time in my life I've experienced this. And usually once the chemicals start affecting you, it's actually a rather blissful experience. And instead I felt almost like something rough running. It was like friction. It was like something rough running against another thing. And almost like a static, completely different than anything I'd ever experienced. And I'm like, what is up is here? And then once the chemical kicked in a little bit more, and I kind of, using the name of what he had given to this deva, I said, I kind of asked, "Golden Teacher, what's going on here?" And man, I got one pissed off diva. This one, it wasn't personal against me, but I had asked what's going on with this experience, and he said, "Do you know what went on here? Do you know that we're meant to grow in the fields for you to harvest and use us as you see fit? We're not meant to be grown in trailers with the expectation of money. We're not meant to be given brand names like Golden Teacher. I am not Golden Teacher." So needless to say, I had other ways, including tobacco, to break that, because it was like abort this journey. I mean, this was not going to go well. Especially because I had done this in a very sacred way, and so I got a sacred earful. Right. But as Shelley said, where the water carries consciousness, everything is carrying consciousness. So even when we grow things, if we're growing them in less than optimal conditions, especially in the conditions that don't naturally arise in, if we're growing them with nothing more than, oh boy, when this comes there, I have money. And then you give it a brand name. And I was even mentioning to Shelley, places where the actual, cannabis, the psychoactive type is legal, like in Colorado. They have names like Black Widow, I don't know. They have all these marketing names. That is so disrespectful to the plant. They have turned them into products rather than maybe telling you what certain chemical composition they are, what their genus and species. There's no honor for nature. I mean, nature has been turned into a commodity. And and these are our relatives. The plants are our relatives also. So treating them with respect is the point of my little rant here.
Yes, and the old paradigm, I'm going to use that term, also was turning us into product and commodity. But really where I wanted to go with that is to say, did you know that many pharmaceuticals originally came because researchers went into the jungles and spoke with the shamans, who then would ingest ayahuasca in a sacred way, not on a paid, tourist sort of thing. But they would speak to the plants, and the plants would give them information about how they are useful, in what way can they help the human people or the animals or whatever? How can they help? But this is a communication that most of us have lost, and it's so far away that I'm sure there's lots of people that would just laugh at that thought. But you know what? Do some research and you'll find out many of our pharmaceuticals came from this path.
Well, even to the, let's take the, like right now, there was that Citizens United where corporations are persons too. Okay. And the key word is person, because person is a weasel word, meaning to think that a human being is a person, and a person is a kind of a property, or it's actually your corporation.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why corporations are persons too, because we are little mini corporations. That's, if you ever think some of the sovereignty movement is all about the name in capital letters, that's because that's your corporate name. Mm-hmm. But you are part of a bigger conglomerate that owns you. And so to me, part of this, taking this away, is corporations might be persons as legally identified, but they're not humans. And that's what we are. We're humans. We're humanity. And one thing corporation will never be is a human. So it's human rights, not person's rights.
Right. And it is important to ask the right question, because you, just as you were describing in your little aborted journey there, that you asked the question, so you did receive the answer. So let's start formulating the questions we want answers to. And realize by you asking the question, you've opened a pathway for the universe to bring you that answer. Make sure you've asked the question you want the answer to, not something that's going to, how is that guy such a fool? Do you really want to know? How can I help this situation? Or, how can I see the light in that person that I think is the fool instead?
Well,
thinking about what goes on in your head, those thoughts.
In that last video, when they panned around, it didn't look particularly crowded yet. That was September 15th. It is now almost 10 days later. It's 9 days later. There are thousands of more people that have been there. The people who are there now are going to winter there. They're going to stay there until objective is achieved. North Dakota winters are not easy winters to go through. But they have grandparents that were there before modern conveniences. These are people who have done this before. This is not a first time. It may be a first time in their body, but it's not a first time in their culture. Mm-hmm. And so they're hunkering down. I mean, one of the chores or one of the activities people are doing is splitting wood. People are donating, cords of wood, but largely in the rounds. So now you have to cut it up. And
so let's wrap this up, people. Let's not make them endure a cold winter like that. Let's take the steps necessary to protect our water, to protect our earth, and to protect ourselves. That's us we're talking about here.
Yes. And
as opposed to the old paradigm, which is really what's behind all this.
And also the honoring of treaties. I mean, they have it. This is an abrogation of a treaty that they have with this tribe. Now, of course,
the cause for the treaty in the first place was as well, but
right.
Okay.
Agreed. But it's just like, here we are, all this contract law and everything else. They're not on the United States government, and these corporations are not honoring a contract. That makes them dishonorable. And of course, that honor can be recovered, but not while they keep on trying to do what they're doing. All right. Well, I think I just want to close this with, again, we have one of our own sisters, Mary Beth Lord, who is there now. She's getting settled. Apparently, she's going to be staying in, there's different encampments. So the Rosebud Sioux are being represented. Those are the Standing Rock Sioux that started this. It's their land that it's going through. And the Rosebud Sioux have an encampment, and so she's been directed through one of our other people, that would be Pushkara, has told her, go to the Rosebud Sioux encampment. So I just want you to know there are probably a lot of places you can donate, but we have one of our own who is almost ashamed. I mean, she's not ashamed, but she's like, she felt a little uncomfortable when I first said we need to do a little bit of a drive, because this isn't about supporting you. This is so that you can funnel things in there. And she's not there's no administrative costs with her. When you're giving to some other places, there might be administrators, okay? Oh, well, you know, we are spending time. I need to be. Mary Beth is not looking to have any compensation for the time. This is from her heart. She will be, the love she will receive, the purpose that she will receive is the payment she's looking for, and she will receive it in abundance. So anything you can send, anything, I mean, as far as money, you can have prayers, stand in your heart. There's more ways than monetary, but if you're moved to support this and try to help with supplies and with the food that it's taking to feed over 4,000 people now, MBLORD, MBLORD, one word, at Comcast.net, Comcast, COMCAST.net, not .com. And anything. And again, if this is heard by many people and they just feel, I mean, just again, anything will help.
You know, one of the things that is a possibility is that people could just gather their friends together and have a conversation about this. And by putting your heads together, maybe you're going to come up with a brilliant idea that we actually need. So if you can't send money, that's cool. Get your family together, get some friends together. Let's talk about this and say, even if we just post it and say, hey, we stand with you, that is something important also.
Well, that's what Vic Camp said. We're asking for ideas. That He said that right. They're asking for ideas. So Shelley, your point is well made, as usual.
Yeah, that's fun.
All right. So this is Mystic View, number 35, Global Mission to Peace TV, Standing with Standing Rock. Thank you all, and we hope that your hearts have been moved and that you have gotten the spirit of what this is. Shelley, you want to say good night?
Yeah, good night, everybody. We'll look forward to catching up with you real soon with Mary Beth, and then we've got some other people lined up to share. It's all about sharing.
So until next time, God bless you all.